Kojima Ranch. By this time, Katashi had found that his cattle had all been cleared out of the pen that they had been put in after they had been allowed to graze for the day. The young rancher was panicking until Asuma calmed him down. "It's fine. My kids are already on it." "How do you know?" Katashi said in a panicky fashion. "They could have been killed or caught or got lost or who knows. Oh man, I was just starting to get this place to work out for me," he said, crying heavy anime tears. Asuma cleaned his ears out, not really wanting to see or hear a grown man cry in front of him. "Because one of the guys that took your animals is laying dead just over the hill over there," he said, pointing to the left. "They probably headed on ahead to catch up and take the others on, but don't you worry, I'll be right behind them." He scratched his head. "Tracking gives my strong suit, but with a large herd of cattle, there aren't many places they could take them out of here. I doubt whoever took them knew we were even here." "Why?" Katashi wondered. Asuma smirked. "Because they actually tried taking the cattle in the first place." "Kei hasn't returned yet, Satoshi Oni-sama," Manabu remarked as he brought up the rear of the cattle that they had managed to steal from the Kojima Ranch as they directed them down the forest path leading away from said ranch. Manabu was a thickly muscled man that had a brown mohawk on his head and red war paint over his eyes. He wore a tan pair of shorts and an open sleeveless jacket, and around his mouth he had a face mask that had a demonic mouth printer on it. The face mask had tubes coming from the back and going into his jacket.
"He should have caught up by now. We can't keep going slow like this. We want to get away clean."
A tall, lanky man with a long mustache and shoulder-length brown hair made a pondering noise. He wore an olive-colored sleeveless shirt and brown pants to go with a red bandana around his head as he calmly led the herd forward at the head. Well then, we'll just have to leave him behind, won't we? He was the most expendable of us anyway. As long as I'm still here, then everything is fine. The plan will still go off without a hitch."
"Of course, Satoshi Oni-sama,"
Manabu said, not really caring much for the fate of their brother.
"If he's a liability, then his fate is his own. He was only supposed to be the diversion anyway. If he was unable to get away from a ranch and the brats he keeps with him, then he wasn't strong enough, clearly. Not like you and I."
"My sentiments exactly," Satoshi replied coolly in an even manner. "Get these cattle to pick up the pace. It's time to get moving." With Team 10, Naruto, Ino, and Shikamaru leapt through the thick trees of the forest surrounding the path that the cattle had been driven down. Shikamaru looked over at Naruto. "Can you sense anyone yet?" Naruto shook his head. "No, there are too many trees in the way. My range is getting better, but with all this salt stuff in the way, there's only so far I can scan out. All I can do is half a mile from an open spot anyway." He frowned visibly. "Like this, I can barely sense 500 feet. Shikamaru grunted. "Fine. Ino, how about you? Any ideas?" "Don't look at me," she said in a stumped manner. "Maybe if we run into an owl or something, I can take over a bird that wouldn't be too weird to be seen flying around so I can find them, but other than that, I've got nothing." Shikamaru let out a sigh, but put his game face on as he got himself ready to put that brain of his to work. "Fine. They have to use the path through the woods if they really do have all the cattle. We all know that the path is a troublesome bitch. I mean, why not just make the thing a straight shot right through? What's with all the twists and turns? Who the hell designs this thing? Shikamaru! Ino and Naruto yelled at him to get him back on track. The plan? Oh, right, he said, looking sheepish at being caught rambling. "Anyway, what I mean is, there's no reason for us to try and look for them and jump right into a fight against whoever took the stupid cows. The path in the wood has a ton of choke points. Ino uses some poison and can take over bodies. I'm smarter than hell apparently, and we have with us the #1 unpredictable prankster in all of the Leaf that has inexcusable manpower by way of his clones. So, who thinks that a little ambush is in order?" He finished with a smirk that Ino and Naruto returned. "Just find a good spot and see if we don't blow them away," Ino said with a gleam in her eyes that scared Naruto and Shikamaru slightly. Ino," Shikamaru said matter-of-factly, "we can't really blow them away. We can't kill the cattle. Just remember that. They still belong to that Kitachi guy, and our job is kind of dependent on them staying alive." "Of course," Ino said with her cheek showing her embarrassment about actually forgetting about that fact. "I knew that. It was a figure of speech." She turned away from Naruto and Shikamaru, both giving her deadpan looks with a huff. "Both of you just shut up and find an ambush spot so we can put the damn plan together already." The cattle were steadily charging down the path, directed from behind by Manabu, who was smirking behind his face mask.
"My jutsu is perfect for getting these stupid animals to toe the line."
Satoshi ran ahead of the herd that he was directing, as is my own for making sure they stay together, Manabu. Kei really served us no purpose towards our steering these cattle. When we cash in, I think his cut should be smaller than ours. It's only fair for the amount of work done by each of us. How hard can it be to ensure a simple rancher doesn't come after us?
"He never was the brightest, you know,"
Manabu commented on the youngest brother, Kei.
"He could have gotten himself lost. Even though there's only one trail to follow, he's done simpler things in his time."
He chuckled at their absent brother's expense. "Keep Kei off your mind at the moment," Satoshi said seriously. "We're still busy." He pointed ahead. "Make sure they stay together. We can't lose any on that cliff. If any fall off, an injured cattle is no good to us." Up ahead of them, the sides of the path elevated into a pair of forested cliffs surrounding the path on both sides. One of the cattle seemed to stumble in their steps before turning away from the pack and heading up into the exact area that Manabu was instructed to keep them herded away from. As if the thing just went crazy, Manabu blanched before breaking away from his spot at the back of the pack. He was on it before Satoshi ever even barked out his order.
Get the thing back in line with the others. That's good money that's running away from you, fool.
Satoshi shouted at Manabu as the latter took off after the wayward livestock.
I'm not stopping for you either, so you'd better hurry up. We've had enough hindrances to what should have been an easy job tonight. I'll get it back quickly, brother,
Manabu said fearfully as he chased after the single far-going animal. Satoshi glared as his brother disappeared into the foliage to chase after the potential money. Why are my family members so incompetent? He said to himself before shrugging. Fine, I don't need them anyway. My skills are more than enough to get these cows to market to sale.
Stupid steer,
Manabu muttered out loud as the animal came into sight. For a stupid cow, that thing took to the woods as if it knew where it was going. But it could only go so fast, and with his ability, he could get the damn thing back to the rest of the herd in no time flat. Eventually, the fleeing animal came to a stop in the middle of the woods and looked around in confusion, as if it didn't know how it had just gotten there. What? Did it realize that cows or cattle have no business being anywhere inside of a forest, or what?
Wait,
Manabu thought.
This was too easy. It should have kept running no matter where it was going.
He narrowed his eyes, as in the moonlit forest, he could see shadows stirring, and jumped to the trees to avoid one of those moving shadows that just happened to be moving towards him.
A trap,
he growled out.
I didn't know there were any other ninja in the area besides us.
In hiding nearby, Naruto turned his head as he sat crouched down. Ino was stirring from her place, being carried on his back, her body coming back into use after her successful mind-body switch jutsu on the steer.
That was good, Ino. We couldn't finish him because he smartened up, but we separated them. That's good.
Ino's sense of awareness quickly came back to her, and she got off of Naruto's back. Shika didn't get him? Naruto shook his head. Damn. Meanwhile, where Shikamaru had been hiding, away from Ino and Naruto, the boy didn't seem to be too concerned with his shadow missing its mark. Even a genin like him or one of his teammates would have felt the suspicion of walking into this situation. It wasn't that big of a deal that he dodged the first move. Every good opening ploy is a gambit after all, something that could end the battle or set the tone for the entire engagement. Shikamaru pulled out a kunai and cut a nearby wire that released a spring-loaded trap that launched over a dozen kunai in Manabu's direction. The large man vacated his spot from the tree he had taken refuge from Shikamaru's shadow in and landed back on the ground. Shikamaru didn't panic and launched his shadow in a desperate bid to capture the man. He had to be smart and pick his spot. It was 3-on-1, they knew where he was. He didn't have that advantage.
Whoever you are,
Manabu said, cracking his knuckles in a foreboding manner.
I suggest you leave right now and let me get back to my work. You don't want to tangle with me tonight. Ruining what had been a good move for me would be a bad idea.
From their hiding place, Naruto was ready to pull out his machete and take the bastard on at the first opening. How you feeling, Ino? Good enough to take this guy down a peg, she said, pulling a Senbon from her supply pouch. Hey, how could it made using them seem like it's something worth picking up? I'm not very good with these yet, but if I hit him with even one, wherever I hit, it'll be no more good for a few minutes at least. If I get a leg, he'll slow down enough to be easy to finish. It's coated in the paralyzing poison I used on myself earlier. Her eyes darted towards his, and blue met blue. Whenever you're ready. Naruto nodded and braced his muscles to prepare to attack. The second I take off, let him fly. Ino cocked her arm back, and the second she saw Naruto make a step forward out from their cover, she threw the Senbon she had in her hand and frowned when she could just feel that they didn't fly right. Damn it! My aim from far away is terrible. How did Aku get so good with those things? Naruto ignored Ino's miss as he saw Manabu turn his head after easily dodging her Senbon. Naruto reached towards his waist for the handle of his machete, but he saw Manabu's eyes widen as he got closer.
A stupid brat!
He rushed forward to meet Naruto, and just as Naruto pulled back to unsheath his weapon, Manabu grabbed him by the wrist he was using to pull out the weapon and threw him hard away from himself.
Are you kidding me? Fine, I'll just squash you quickly and get back to business,
he said, marching towards Naruto before finding himself caught in place. A smirk came to Naruto's face as he picked himself up off the ground. Wow, Shikamaru, did I give you enough of an opening there, or do you want to throw me harder? Manabu's eyes turned towards the direction where he had heard a chuckle. Well, it's not like I thought he was actually going to grab you and throw you. That's more your thing, isn't it? Shikamaru sighed and made a motion with his foot to ensure that he had Manabu caught.
You think this can hold me, you brats?
Manabu said with a growl, beginning to use brute force to power his way out of the hold. Naruto and Ino, who was still in hiding, noticed Shikamaru focusing on holding his rat seal, straining heavily. Man, this guy's a powerhouse. He's actually breaking my hold on him. Damn it! Naruto and Ino both said simultaneously, one move with machete to hurriedly end the man's life before he broke free. The other moved from her cover to attempt to cut him off with her mind-body switch jutsu to stop his struggling. The noise of Manabu biting into something from behind his face mask sounded out before a loud slurping noise followed it. Naruto was the first to reach Manabu, due to his being faster than Ino, prompting her to back off lest she wind up getting herself killed after switching bodies. This time, Naruto freely drew his machete and held it over his head to unleash a downward slash to Manabu.
Essence of power!
Manabu exclaimed in a gravelly voice before actually breaking through Shikamaru's jutsu and unloading a vicious punch directly to Naruto's body that sent him bouncing off it like a rubber ball.
I told you that wouldn't hold me,
he said as his body seemed to double in size and mass. Veins clearly visible all over the bared parts of his body, arms, legs, and all over his forehead, just to name a few places. Naruto! Ino ran towards him as she saw his body bounce off the ground a few times before smacking into the trunk of a tree. Naruto let out a pain groan as he pulled himself into a sitting position. Are you alright? Naruto's breathing was slightly labored as Ino helped him back up. Luckily, this tree was here to stop me, he muttered, holding his back. Am I too young to slip a disc? He asked, holding his back as his legs shook under him. Meanwhile, Shikamaru was being pursued by Manabu, intent on not letting the hulking menace hit him. He somehow had to keep the man busy while Naruto recovered. Ino would have been helpful in that regard, but after seeing Naruto get cracked, it would probably have been better to have someone with him as he got his legs back beneath him, if he would be able to recover. So that left it up to him. Troublesome, Shikamaru said to himself as he got on his proverbial bicycle and got the hell out of Manabu's way as the punch aimed at him hit the ground where he had been and formed a crater. This guy's all size and no brain, but even with no brain and all that muscle, he could still beat us. Ino and Naruto could see Shikamaru keep Manabu's attention by being elusive, but his jutsu could simply be broken by this monster of a man, so his shadows were useless at the moment. He needs our help, Ino said, preparing to help now that it was clear that all Naruto needed was a moment to rest up. Naruto moved himself before cringing in pain and holding his torso. God, it hurts! I swear he must have broken some, he said, talking about his ribs as he slid to the ground. Ino nodded, and Naruto stopped her arm when he saw her guiding a Senbone towards him. What are you doing? Ino blinked when she felt Naruto holding her arm in his grasp, and answered as the more time they wasted, the worse things would be. My poison is more of a simple numbing agent. If I can stick you out where you hurt, I can at least make it so that you can't feel what hurts. It's dangerous though because you can't tell how hurt you are until it fades. But she trailed off looking at Shikamaru. Naruto also looked out at Shikamaru as he saw Manabu rip a tree from its roots to swing at the pineapple-haired guinea, narrowly missing him. Fuck it, go ahead and do it, he said, lifting his shirt and windbreaker, and showing her his torso that had deep bruising from where he had clearly been badly injured. Ino winced at the sight before putting it in the back of her mind and lining up his injuries in conjunction where she knew his organs were, lest she shut one down by accident. As she stuck him with the needles, she saw his eyes cloud over in something akin to relief. Do you feel better? She asked him. Can you still move? Naruto wiggled his arms and legs and stood back up on spaghetti legs. Don't have to do, believe it, he said, looking at Manabu battling Shikamaru. This guy's so slow, but he's like a bull. You're telling me? He's bigger than an actual bull, Ino said almost fearfully before her eyes locked onto something nearby. Huh, I'll be right back, she said, almost trance-like as she ran off somewhere. Shikamaru grunted in an effort as he could feel the wind from a missed punch by Manabu's hulking arms. Man, that one would have ripped my head off if it hit me. Come on, I can't just keep running away. Doesn't this guy ever get tired with all that muscle? Incoming! Multiple Naruto voices shouted as they jumped from trees around both Shikamaru and Manabu. Shikamaru got the hell out of the way as 20 Naruto clones surrounded their enemy, with a few even landing on Manabu's massive shoulders. These clones were prepared to cut into the man's neck, but they were grabbed and thrown away violently, dispelling on impact with whatever they hit. The remaining clones, however, were able to charge in and deliver slashes to his body. Good to see you up and about, Naruto, Shikamaru said as the original Naruto stopped at his side. One sucker punch isn't gonna beat me, no matter who it is. A frown then crossed the blonde's face as he looked at the bruises under his shirt again. Besides, I doubt I'm gonna get hit by too many people stronger than this guy anyway. Elsewhere in the land of fire, a blonde woman at a bar sneezed, alerting the sleeping pet pig nearby that freaked out momentarily at being abruptly jolted awake. The well-endowed lady wiped her nose and grunted as the cup of Sasuke she had been holding spilled all over the place. She just shrugged and filled it back up happily, not letting that ruin her night. She had given her assistant the slip for once. This was her night. Naruto and Shikamaru didn't know what to make of it once they saw Manabu begin wildly swinging his arms, knocking Naruto clones away in multiple amounts. I know I didn't cut his throat or anything, but shouldn't he be bleeding out by now? This is a machete. I cut him all over the place. Yeah, Shikamaru said with a bead of sweat rolling down his face. This is getting annoying more than anything.
You stupid brats!
Manabu yelled at the top of his lungs once he finished off the last of Naruto's clones.
You can't beat me like that! My muscles are expanded and tempered by the effects of a secret serum my village created.
He started laughing to himself.
It's like cutting through layers and layers of nothing but the toughest muscle. You'll never hit anything vital enough to slow me down, let alone wound me bad enough to kill me.
Ideas? Naruto asked, holding up his machete, ready to keep fighting. Because my plan would have been to just keep cutting chunks out of his ass until he stopped moving. Brilliant. Shikamaru quipped sarcastically. I think I've got an idea, but it's gonna be explosive as all hell. You remember that time we were supposed to clear that noble's house in the leaf of rats and vermin, and how that worked out? Naruto nodded in remembrance. Yeah, we're gonna be doing that again. Only on purpose this time. Now where's your stupid cow you don't let out of here? And just like that, Manabu was smashed from behind and knocked away by the cattle that had been forced to head away from the herd by Ino's jutsu. The speed and momentum that the animal had built up had been placed behind that smash that seemed to knock even the steer itself for a loop. Naruto pointed at the valuable animal and exclaimed, "Holy crap, did you see that? That was awesome!" Naruto waved his arms at the thing that had just given them some help. "Thanks a lot, that was great!" He was taken back slightly when he saw the animal apparently wink at him. "Okay?" Shikamaru smirked. "That was Ino, Naruto." When he saw the cow seemingly stumble about for a moment, he nodded accordingly. "Great, this guy still doesn't know that Ino can do the mind-body switch jutsu. She still has her trump card in her back pocket." Manabu slowly got back up, holding his back.
Am I too young to slip a disc?
He said to himself as he slowly straightened out, his back cracking. "Get him now, Naruto!" Manabu was seemingly mobbed by a gang of Naruto's shadow clones that seemed to latch onto every appendage, holding him down. When it looked as if he would begin to move to get rid of them, they would seem to multiply and hold him down even more.
Your jutsu!
Manabu managed to grit out from between his teeth.
It's different from his, but it has so many advantages to his own.
Naruto didn't know what he was talking about and didn't care. All he knew was that Manabu was primed and ready for the finish. "Okay, Shikamaru, do it!" "Gladly." Shikamaru put out a kunai with an explosive note attached to it that he began to burn down before throwing it at the enemy.
You idiotic punk kids can't kill me like this!
He exclaimed as they could see the cloth on his face mask begin to ruffle. "Yeah, we can," Shikamaru replied before throwing the kunai. "Just like this," he said, right as the weapon buried itself into Manabu's chest that the clones left exposed. The men let out a gasp, just as an explosion rocked the woods, knocking down trees on top of the fiery explosion that resulted. Shikamaru sighed and sat down on the forest floor. "And that's game, people." Ino wandered out of the surrounding area, holding her head. "Kami, I swear headbutting that jerk in the cow's body gave me a concussion. What was he made of, bricks?" Naruto sighed, feeling an ache in his body again, though it was more muted now than before. "Man, Ino, did you not put too much of that stuff on the symbol you stubbed me with? It's wearing down." "No way," Ino said. "That was when I had prepared for actual fights. You shouldn't have been able to feel anything that I stabbed for at least an hour." She couldn't see how his body burned through the poison so quickly unless he had an immune system of the gods or something like that. "Let's go," Shikamaru said, pulling himself back up to his feet. "We've still got to get the other guy before this really ends. I don't even want to think of how far away he got while we were fighting. We have to move it to catch up to him."
Stupid bats!
The trees that had fallen on top of Manabu after Shikamaru's explosion were tossed casually aside as Manabu stood back up, towering over the kids, larger than ever, smoke billowing from his mouth. His clothes were in smoldering tatters. He had a wound that didn't seem to be bleeding at all in his chest, and his skin was covered in burns. In some place on his body, he was burned enough for the muscle to be seen under his flesh. Naruto's eyes widened. "Holy shit, did he get bigger?" the blonde asked, machete back up and ready to fight. Shikamaru shook his head as if he were hallucinating. "He took a point-blank explosion. His arms were wide open and his mouth was wide open when it went off. Why isn't he dead?"
You can't kill me!
Manabu yelled to the wilderness.
No matter what you do, my body can create more muscle to make my body denser and protect my vital areas. You can't reach anything that can kill me. You can't win. With my serum filling me, you can't win!
"I don't know." A mature, calm voice said from around them. "I think they've been kicking your ass pretty good so far." From the surrounding area walked out Asuma, with his trench knives already out and at the ready. "You three get moving. Get to the cattle. Guys like this are stubborn ones. Hard to take down. Fast. Kind of like cockroaches." Ino looked over their sensei worriedly. "Asuma sensei, he's tough as nails. He's been taking everything we've been throwing at him." "I can take him, Ino. It's okay." Asuma said with a smile reassuring her. "Now go on and get out of here." Manabu sneered from behind his face mask.
You think I'll just let him leave?
Yes. Each member of Team 10 said blandly before Shikamaru reached into his supply pouch and threw down a flash bomb. After the flash, the only one still there was Asuma. "I guess Shikamaru being number one at running away works out after all. Now, let's get acquainted, shall we?"
I'll make short work of you,
Manabu said, punching into his palm.
Now that I don't have those kids splitting my attention, I can just focus on one target. Easy.
Asuma didn't seem very concerned by his large opponent. "That's funny. I was going to say the same thing. I was going to be nicer about it than you seem to be." Manabu used even more of his serum and bulked up to now over 3 times Asuma's size.
I'm gonna kill you. And if your runts catch up to Satoshi, then he'll kill them too.
"You sure?" Asuma asked, "because they seem to have killed your other brother back on the ranch and handled you pretty well before I got here." A scoff came from Manabu.
Kay was easily the weakest of the 3 of us. That fool probably killed himself by holding his own kunai the wrong way. But Oni-sama, he's stronger than me.
A shake of the head came from the towering man.
Those kids don't have a chance. Just like you!
He shouted before grabbing into the ground and ripping up a chunk to throw at Asuma. Asuma moved out of the way of the earthen projectile that had been directed at him and rushed towards Manabu, who cocked his fist back to meet the man. Asuma slashed at Manabu through his punch and cut clean through his punching arm, leaving a stump attached where it had been cut from.
You cut off my arm!
Duh, Asuma said as he watched his opponent recoil and stepped backwards as blood poured from his wound. What did you think would happen? Manabu was only grateful that his jutsu made his wounds close quickly, or else he would have bled out. He may have been missing an arm, but at least he was still alive.
Nothing has cut through my entire body before when I've used this much of the serum.
He then began chuckling darkly through his pain.
I guess I just need more.
I guess I just need to kill you now, Asuma said, not wanting to see how much more of the serum he spoke of the man could use. From the looks of him, he had been using it to fight his kids the entire time, and if he could still use more, that would make things harder than they needed to be. Asuma murdered the name of his technique that severed Manabu's arm as he planned to end the battle there. Flying Swallow. Asuma kept himself far wide of Manabu's arm as he cut into the right side of his chest with his extended wind chakra blades from a slight range. Blood spurted from the wound and from Manabu's mouth as Asuma had managed to cut all the way through his tough muscles not once, but twice.
Ow.
He asked as he dropped to his knees. Wind chakra can cut through pretty much anything, Asuma said, putting his trench knives up. Bad luck for you, but even if I hadn't fought you, my team would have beaten you themselves. It was just a matter of time. I like my team more than I thought I would at first. The Leaf's got some good future stock if those kids are any indication.
Leaf,
Manabu said, his eyes growing heavy.
I see. No wonder they were so persistent and rather talented, and why you were so overwhelmingly strong. But Satoshi won't be as easy as me. His jutsu is the most powerful one that we took from our village of the hidden grass, the most troublesome one out of all of us. They referred to him as Fukusei no Satoshi.
Manabu said as his eyes closed and he slumped forward, still on his knees. Satoshi the Replicator, Asuma said, translating Manabu's brother's apparent epithet. A grin slowly formed on his face before he started laughing harder and harder and walked over to the dead body, planning on possibly taking it back to the Leaf with him, much like the other one. Pulling out a sealing scroll, Asuma set it down as his laugh just subsided. Replicator. He cracked up and started laughing again. Okay, I guess I need to hurry this up and get that cow back to the ranch. With Naruto, Ino, and Shikamaru. Damn, this is wildery, Ino complained as another branch smacked her across the face. Why are we taking the way covered in the most underbrush? Shikamaru rolled his eyes. So we can cut off the last guy who sucks to take a beaten path with all the cattle. His eyes then widened in inspiration. Wait, I have an idea. Naruto, how good are you at transformation? Naruto shrugged his shoulders. You guys both know that I'm awesome at the transformation. Shikamaru looked over at Ino and then back at Naruto. Do you think you and Ino could work out a single transformation? Anytime, Naruto said with a smile while Ino looked apprehensive. Come on, Ino, we got this. It's just a transformation. Good, Shikamaru said, his plan for approaching the final cattle rustler all mapped out in his head. When we get close, be ready for it. Satoshi found it far easier to move the cattle once the path he was on set itself into being surrounded by the cliffs. The walls that it raised up basically kept the cattle corralled as they moved along. His job was simpler this way.
Satoshi Oni-sama.
He turned his head to see Manabu making his way back over to the back of the pack with the missing cow back in lineup. I see you've returned. A smirk came to his face. Did you have trouble finding the cow? Manabu grunted.
The stupid creature had me running all through the woods chasing it down.
Did you have to use your serum to get it back here? Satoshi asked offhandedly. Manabu nodded, not that his brother could see it.
Yes, I did.
A nod came from Satoshi before he abruptly turned, stopping the herd and launched himself at Manabu, who wound up being kicked in the stomach away from the herd. Upon being hit, Manabu turned into Shikamaru, who sat on his butt holding his stomach. Troublesome. Satoshi slowly walked towards him, glaring at the Leaf Guinea. If you had been Manabu and you had used the serum the way you said you did, then you wouldn't be that large. You'd be rather puny. The serum was always running through his system as long as he stayed hooked to it. It was just that taking it directly through his mouth allowed him to greatly increase his mass and strength. He then smirked. Good try though, and a good gamble by bringing me the actual cow that ran away. Shikamaru returned his smirk, and Satoshi wondered why he was when he heard a popping noise behind him and turned to backstep out of the way of a machete slash that was aimed right at his face. Ino, however, was able to take advantage and launch a kick that hit Satoshi right in the body and sent him stumbling back towards Shikamaru, who had initiated his own attack. Shadow Possession Jutsu! Satoshi backflipped over Shikamaru's shadow, and Shikamaru himself kicked him in the back to get him away from him. I see. So you must have defeated Kei and Manabu, hence why they aren't here. He shook his head. Very well, I didn't need them anyway. Ino narrowed her eyes at the uncaring man. They were your teammates. Don't you care about them? They were more than my teammates. They were my brothers, Satoshi said, putting his right hand over his head before deadpanning at them. And no, I don't. Who needs a team when you're your own team? I didn't even need them for this job. I could have done it myself. How? Naruto asked. Even if you were good at solo missions, you still need a team for something like this. How could you keep all the cattle going how you want them to? Because of my jutsu, he exclaimed as he brought his hands up to form a seal that made all of Team 10's eyes widen. I'm more than a one-man team. I'm a one-man army. His hands were in a cross seal that Naruto used pretty much every day. Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. In a puff of smoke that surrounded them all, Team 10 found themselves surrounded by 30 copies of Satoshi. Wow, Ino said, looking around. He can do this jutsu? Looks like it, Shikamaru said. Do you see? Satoshi said, all of his clones smirking in a manner similar to him. All I had to do was steal this forbidden technique given to the hidden grass as a show of good faith from the leaf. And now I am my own army. No team of ninja can defeat me, he said, sweat on his brow from the exertion of the jutsu. Naruto, however, was far from impressed. So this is all you can do. You and your clones look half dead. Shut up, brat, Satoshi growled, sneering at Naruto, who didn't seem shaken in the least. What would you know about my magnificent technique? Naruto simply brought his own hands up in the same seal that Satoshi had formed. The missing ninja's jaw dropped as he felt his advantage fall immensely after seeing the grand form on Naruto's face and hearing the boy call out his jutsu in response to Satoshi's own. Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu! In an even larger puff of smoke surrounding all Satoshi's clones, as well as Ino and Shikamaru and the original Naruto in the center, there stood Naruto clones, all drawing their machetes and smirking. I think I know a little more than you about it. Satoshi counted out a number that dwarfed his clones as he stopped counting once he saw the number reach 150. How? I had to steal this jutsu. I had to be outlawed from my own village to learn this jutsu. Why does a brat like you know a leaf forbidden jutsu? Naruto flicked the middle of the headband tying around his neck, bandana style, drawing attention to the leaf insignia on it, basically saying that he was from the leaf. I stole it too, by accident after I got tricked. But I did manage to get this jutsu out of the deal, and I wound up graduating for it, so I guess everything worked out. You did it just to be greedy though, and for your information, you suck at using this jutsu. With that, Ino and Shikamaru were switched out from being surrounded by Naruto's clones, who used a substitution to quickly get them out of the circle they were in. You can't beat me, Satoshi shouted. I'm the master of this jutsu. Not anymore, Naruto said as his clones moved in to attack, while other clones bombarded the surrounding clones of Satoshi from the cliffs with weaponry. Meanwhile, Ino, Shikamaru, and a few other Naruto clones let the cattle away. The original Satoshi crawled away from the melee of his clones, being obliterated by the sheer numbers and coordinated assault from Naruto's own. He got back to his feet and prepared to run when he found himself caught in place. Gotcha. Shikamaru had managed to catch him in his family signature jutsu, Shadow Possession Jutsu, and I don't think this guy is going anywhere this time. Satoshi growled before he felt a pull and smirked. In a puff of smoke, a clone had managed to switch places with the original, allowing him to escape Shikamaru's grasp. Naruto! Ino yelled as she ran back towards the fray between Naruto and the few remaining Satoshi clones. Give me a boost! One of the Narutos heard her yell and held his hands in a way that allowed him to boost and throw Ino into the air per her request. While in the air, she saw one Satoshi escaping the battle and aimed herself at him, smirking as she drew a pair of Senbon and held one in each hand. Incoming, you asshole! Ino said as she descended upon him and stabbed him, once in the lower back and once in the upper back. She smiled brightly once he dropped to the ground bonelessly. Got him! Woo! Naruto's clones all cheered after getting rid of Satoshi's. The clones would overrode with this celebration, throwing the weaponry into the air. Oh. What the fuck did you idiots do? The original Naruto yelled as he freaked out and ran away from the falling weapons before canceling his clones and their raining weapons of death. Shikamaru and Ino watched him with a sweat drop as he checked himself over for any self-inflicted injuries before finding none and crossing his arms, squinting his eye. Yep, I'm the master, he said with a grin. Great, Shikamaru said as he pointed at the paralyzed Satoshi and then at the cow that Naruto's clones had been keeping from wandering off. Now I have to drag that guy back to the ranch and get the stupid cows back there too. Easy. Ino and Naruto both said simultaneously. They both grabbed the paralyzed Satoshi and threw him on the back of one of the cows while Ino tied him to it. Ino grabbed Shikamaru and forced him to climb onto one as well, while Naruto got behind the cows and made more clones while pulling at his machete. Get your asses back to the ranch or you'll be my dinner tonight! He yelled maniacally, waving his machete around wildly. I didn't get to eat tonight, damn it! 2 days later, the village hid in the leaves. The mission concluded the next day, as the amount of work Katashi forced his younger cousin Shigeru to do put the majority of the protective fence up double time that would have been put up the previous day. Naruto still found it hilarious that the brat couldn't even look at him or Ino and make direct eye contact, and also found it hilarious that the girl Kiyomi spent the rest of the time trying in vain to hit on Shikamaru, something that he and Ino teased him about all the way back to the village. From that point, everything went smoothly, and the Leaf Ninja with Satoshi in tow headed back to their village and concluded their mission that probably got a raise level again. As Team 10 returned from their latest mission dragging their prisoner behind them, Naruto held his arms open and turned his head up to the sky. Oh man, thank goodness. That mission sucked. Asuma let go of the end of the rope that Satoshi was tied up with and grabbed a cigarette as a pair of Anbu dropped down surrounding the prisoner. Yeah, this guy's supposed to be a missing ninja from grass. He then tossed him 2 scrolls. They are too, but they're dead. I'll report to Lord Hokage myself though. The 2 Anbu nodded and took Satoshi away, allowing Asuma to light a cigarette. And that's the mission, kids. You can all go home now.
Yay!
Naruto, Shikamaru, and Ino all said in a half-hearted manner.
Lazy punks.
Asuma muttered, exhaling some smoke as he shook his head.
Alright, meet me tomorrow, somewhere for lunch, so...
Ichiraku ramen! Naruto perked right back up as he bounced in place excitedly. Asuma just stared at him before continuing to speak.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, meet me tomorrow for lunch at noon, at Ichiraku Ramen.
He added, getting a grin from Naruto.
No training, no missions, just so we can meet up for a bit. Got it?
He got nods from all of them.
Good. Now I'm gonna go debrief and spend the rest of my afternoon doing awesome stuff.
He finished as he began to walk away. Ino smirked. Tell Kurenai-sensei I said hi, she said slyly.
I will.
He turned and gave a glare at his female genin before sighing and continuing to walk away.
Team full of smartasses. I'm so lucky.
He muttered sarcastically. And I, Naruto said loudly, getting everyone's attention before getting a conspiratory look on his face, am going to split a goddamn leaf. If it's the last thing I ever do. He growled and started stomping off on his own. Where are you going, Naruto? Ino asked him. Home, he said, waving over his shoulder. See you guys later. Shikamaru rubbed the back of his neck. Hey, do you guys want to hang out or something? He looked to Naruto. At your house? Because we went to my house, my mom would be troublesome. Ino then thought about how her dad picked on her and Naruto when he showed up at the flower shop and agreed with Shikamaru's idea of not going to her house either. Yeah, I could do that, but it's Naruto's choice. Now, this was rather confusing. Naruto had never really had anyone at his house except for the Hokage a few times. Other than that, he was unaccustomed to anyone coming over to his house, but they were his teammates and friends as far as he was concerned. So, what the hell? Why not? Sure, he said, somewhat thrown off, but other than that, he just decided to roll with it.
Meanwhile, Hokage Tower.
Asuma found his way into the mission control room only to find the room full of some of the more prominent jonin in the village, and many of the chunin.
I was going to debrief, but it looks kind of busy in here.
He looked over and saw a man with brown hair and dark eyes with bags under them, that wore his headband like a bandana on his head and had a katana on his back.
Hayate, what's going on?
Hayate coughed before speaking. Well, Lord Hokage called for a meeting after it was told that you were back in the village from your mission, so I guess your debrief is gonna have to wait.
Shit.
Asuma said, palming his face.
I just got back. I don't want to sit through a long-ass meeting. I've got places to be, people to see.
Hayate pointed his thumb deeper into the room. Kurenai's over there. Asuma face vaulted and stood back up abruptly.
Oh, come on, you
He regained his composure.
Never mind. What's this one all about?
Tuning exams. Hayate said, answering Asuma's questions. Yeah, apparently this time around it's supposed to be some kind of big deal. Messages have been going out and coming in about it for a while now.
It's that time already, huh?
Asuma said, stroking his beard as his thoughts immediately flickered towards his team.
You know, I wonder how they stack up, to be quite honest.
The room quieted down once Hiruzen walked in through the opening at the crowd that cleared for him once he entered. Staying at the head of the room, he looked out at his shinobi and smiled.
Good to see everyone here. I would have called this meeting sooner, but many of you are away and busy. My apologies.
He cleared his throat and continued.
As I'm sure you've all heard by now, this is about the upcoming Chunin exam.
A woman with a spiky purple ponytail that wore a mesh bodysuit and a tan trench coat spoke up. I heard that it was a total clusterfuck getting it together this time around.
Hiruzen chuckled. That it was, Anko, but it's finally come together. The major sticking point was the meeting place that the villagers would all go to for the exam. Each village did not trust any of the other 5 major hidden villages to run a completely impartial competition after the last few years, so a neutral site has been established. The exams will take place in the Land of Iron. The samurai of the realm have already given their consent, though there will be no room for any ulterior activities. Security will be tight the entire time. This is so no village will overstep their bounds, lest they find themselves punished by the samurai.
A whistle sounded out as a random tuning spoke. That place is no joke. I can only imagine what the tests are going to be like.
Indeed, Hiruzen said. There will be joint proctors from all villages for the test, so there can be no foul play, nor any village can accuse the other of any. I anticipated this exam to be the largest in recorded history. He then smiled, which leads me to my next topic.
If there are any Jonin sensei abound that wish for their teams to participate in the exams, you know what they are capable of better than anyone. And if you so desire to send them, speak now. A man with a bowl cut and a green jumpsuit with a flak jacket stepped forward. I, Might Guy, nominate my team, Hyuga Neji, 1010, and Rock Lee for the upcoming tuning exam. Their flames of youth will burn right through the infamous cold climate of the country. Here too, I nominate my team too. And so it went around the room. Several more Jonin spoke up and entered their teams into the exams before Kurenai spoke up. I, Yuhi Kurenai, nominate my squad, Team 8, Hyuga Hinata, Aburame Shino, and Inuzuka Kiba. Asuma saw and heard her do this and figured, why not? If she was doing it, then why shouldn't he? Lifting his hands, he voiced his own support for his team. I, Sarutobi Asuma, nominate Team 10, Yamanaka Ino, Uzumaki Naruto, and Nara Shikamaru for the tuning exams. Kakashi decided not to be left out of the fun as well. Hatake Kakashi nominates Team 7, Akimichi Choji, Uchiha Sasuke, and Haruno Sakura for the exams in the Land of Iron. Now wait just a minute, Iruka said from where he had been listening in the room. You're nominating the rookies? Are you trying to destroy these kids? He said in bewilderment. Asuma sighed. I was a tuning when I was their age. These kids are damn good, Iruka. I wouldn't send them otherwise. Do you know what's going to happen to them out there? Iruka said, keeping up his argument. If this thing's really as big as you say it's going to be, there are going to be tons of teams. Teams with more experience, all gunning for easy prey. Kakashi spoke at that point. Well, then they're in for a rude awakening when they find out there's nothing easy about these kids at all. Asuma put a hand on the man's shoulder. They'll be fine. Just watch. You won't even know that you're watching the same kids you were teaching in the academy, especially Naruto. Naruto's house. I'm just saying, Naruto, Ino said as she stood out on Naruto's balcony with the door open so that they could hear her. We could keep some things over here, maybe get an extra bed or two, help you pay your bills and all that. And this could be like an official team house or something. This place is big for a place that a Genin can afford. I don't really pay rent, Naruto said loud enough for her to hear him as he unpacked his stuff from his mission inside of his room. I mean, I do, but it's really cut down for what I should be paying. Hokage Gigi was really good about that, he said, laughing a bit. Ino turned and saw Shikamaru sitting at Naruto's kitchen table with his head down on it, asleep. Really, Shikamaru? Yeah, this is you hanging out, asleep on Naruto's table. I'm tired, woman, Shikamaru said, cracking an eye to get a look at her. Shaking her head, Ino walked inside from the balcony and shut the door, walking over to Naruto, who was still in his room. How are your ribs? Ribs are fine, Naruto said with a grin, tapping himself with his fist right where the horrible bruises had been during their last battle. See, I'm good. I was all good by the next morning. If I wasn't, I would have said something. How? Ino said, not understanding much about medicine, but knowing enough from her work with Sinbone and poison to comprehend that people don't heal from injured ribs over one night with some good sleep. Actually, people with broken ribs don't get good sleep, so that was another thing. You should be limping or walking gingerly all over the place. Naruto blinked in confusion. Why? The injury hurt like hell, but he'd gotten over it just like he usually got over his other injuries. I don't understand. People don't just do that, Naruto, Ino explained to him, kneeling down next to him where he was sitting and unpacking as she poked him in his torso. You're telling the truth. That's actually really weird, Naruto. Nobody gets over broken ribs that fast, and yours were definitely broken. Did you use a jutsu to heal yourself? Naruto's eyes widened. Whoa, I could have been doing that? He squinted his eyes and thought, but I probably won't be able to find anything like that either. He muttered, put off at not being able to learn any ninjutsu despite having been going to the library for months now. So it wasn't ninjutsu either. Shikamaru thought to himself. Naruto had gotten hit by a guy that could fell a tree with the same punch. And he had not only survived, he had gotten over it by the following morning, enough to travel with no hindrances to the group. He really does heal like that. What is it? I've never even heard of anything like that before. Well, Naruto stood up and walked over to his bed, falling on it and yawning. It doesn't matter. I've still got to split Asuma Sensei's leaf, he said, fishing one out of his windbreaker pocket, before jumping back up and channeling chakra into it, not getting anything for his trouble. Shikamaru got up from the table and walked in to see Naruto struggling. Well, I have a question about that. Are you only cutting from one side or both? Naruto stopped training and looked at him like a confused deer. I mean, with your clones, you should have gotten this by now, so either your element really isn't wind, or you're not doing it completely right. So why don't you try whatever you were just doing, only from both sides of the leaf? Naruto just stared at him before glaring at the leaf and focusing again. After around 5 seconds of work, he cut the leaf right down the middle and threw the scraps to the ground. I can't believe that crap! Why didn't I think of that? He yelled, grabbing his head. Shikamaru shrugged before patting him on the shoulder. Cuz, you're following orders and you didn't even think about other ways of doing it. There's never only one way to do something, Naruto. But if you kept doing it that way, then eventually you'd probably have gotten it once you got the skill to use enough power with your wind to cut right through it. Ino deadpanned him a look. Is it that weird that way to pick the process up? I see him do stuff with leaves every single day. Ino's look didn't lessen a bit as Naruto marched around the room, cursing about how he could have finished this 2 weeks ago if he had even just thought about doing it this way. I still have no idea how we made this team work the way it does. Shikamaru chose to ignore Naruto's ranting about how he was going to freak Asuma out tomorrow when he showed him that he could cut the leaf to respond to Ino's statement. Our dynamic is unique. I want to say unique, but I really know that it makes no logical sense that we even survive what happened in the Land of Waves, let alone that we keep on winning, and that you have no idea at all how we work so well together. Ino seemed to finish for him, as Naruto's ranting seemed to start losing steam. Yeah, it's not like we have generational experience to work with like our parents do. Naruto's kind of the odd man out in our team makeup. I heard someone say my name. What's up? Naruto said, catching Ino's last lines, now officially done with his insane ramblings. Shikamaru looked at Naruto with an appraising eye. Maybe he is the odd man out. But there's something about Naruto that we're just not getting. He doesn't have any family history. There has to be someone that knows of his parents, since he isn't a Yamanaka and he has a very particular look. And he's a good guy. Why didn't anyone ever try and take him in? Then there's his healing stuff and all that chakra he has. There has to be something genetic that does that. Maybe a clan or something. A frown came over his face. This is going to bother me until I figure it out, I swear. End of chapter 14. Bonus, how to train your Genin. Tip 11, how to get the job done. The entire reason you're there to train your team in the first place is so they can eventually get good enough to handle things all on their own. At first, you will need to help them out, and in true dangerous situations, you will always be the go-to shinobi. But after a while, you have to hand over the reins sometimes in order to teach them. As a sensei, you will be responsible for teaching them standard procedure, and how to handle any and all suspect incidents. The most important part of teaching these things is making sure that when push comes to shove, they can handle themselves even without you there. This is pretty much the point of them being promoted to Chunin, them showing this not only to you, but to everyone that could possibly promote them. Eventually, you will have to take a back seat and allow them to make their own mistakes, come up with their own plans on how to do things, and you will only be there as a failsafe just in case things go south quickly. This is your purpose as their sensei, because if you just handle all the trouble, then who's really going to get better because of it? Steel sharpens steel, and the cream always rises to the top. If your Genin are as good as you want them to be, and believe that they are, then you should let them prove it to you. By the time they graduate to Chunin, you should be acting as their support, not the other way around. Jutsu list, essence of power, supplementary Haijutsu, meaning secret art. A special serum designed with most of the raw materials of soldier pills, ingredients that boost strength, and other forbidden drugs that artificially increase muscle mass. The serum is perpetually circulated through the user's body to keep their system accustomed to it, so that use of it does not force the body into shock. This will naturally increase the size of one's body and physical mass. However, actually ingesting the serum orally provides the true effects. The user's body will expand and their strength will double, triple, etc., depending on how much is used. Overuse of the serum will result in the body shrinking and becoming fragile and brittle for a time after the user is done. If one can get the fluid concentration to stop or break, this can also kill the user. Thus, the visible wires that move around the outside of the user's body are generally well hidden or protected for the most part.